unique woman. London felt like the centre of the world. Emperors, presidents, kings and queens, hundreds of thousands of mourners.
In this video, we're diving deep into the untold story of Angela Kelly, the woman who stood beside Queen Elizabeth for decades, witnessing moments no one else ever saw. From her humble beginnings in Liverpool to becoming the Queen's most trusted friend, Angela finally broke her silence at 67, revealing secrets that shook the royal world. What was the Queen really like behind closed doors? What intimate moments did they share that no camera ever captured? Stay with me until the end, because I'll share something that will completely change how you see the Queen. And before we begin, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below with the word royalty if you want to discover more hidden stories from inside the palace walls. Let's get started. Angela Kelly wasn't born into wealth or power. She came from the complete opposite world. Picture this, a small council house in Liverpool, 1957. Her dad operated cranes for a living, while her mom worked as a nurse. Angela grew up with that thick Liverpool accent that she carried proudly throughout her entire life, never forgetting where she came from before she ever dreamed of dressing queens. Angela worked as a simple housekeeper, walking those grand palace halls just trying to make ends meet. Her big break came in 1992, and it happened in the most unexpected way. She was working at the British Embassy in Berlin under Ambassador Christopher Malaby. That October, when Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip visited, something magical happened. Angela didn't freeze up or get nervous. She just walked right up to the Queen and started chatting like they were old friends, casually mentioning she planned to move back to the UK soon. What happened next shocked everyone. Just a few months later, Angela received a royal invitation that would change her life forever. Have you ever wondered what it takes to become friends with a queen? Drop a comment and let me know your thoughts. Early in 1993, Angela joined the royal household as one of the Queen's dressers. But here's where it gets interesting. Within just 3 years, she climbed to senior dresser, filling the shoes left empty by Bobo MacDonald, who had been the Queen's dresser and friend since childhood. The pressure was intense. Everyone expected her to fail. But Angela had something special, something nobody expected. She didn't just pick out clothes and arrange jewelry. She actually listened. She learned what the Queen truly wanted. And slowly, something extraordinary began to happen. They became friends. Real friends. In a world where everyone followed strict rules and kept their distance, Angela somehow managed to break through those walls, gently and naturally. The Queen trusted her so completely that she eventually invited Angela to live inside the palace itself, making her absolutely essential not just for wardrobe duties, but for daily companionship. Angela once said in an interview, and I quote, "I love the Queen and everything about her. She let me get close to her, and she trusted me for a very long time." This wasn't luck. Angela brought something beyond fashion expertise. She offered real loyalty, genuine humor, and an incredible eye for tiny details. The Queen, who everyone saw as formal and distant, actually treasured Angela's dry wit and her authentic Liverpool charm. They laughed together in private moments, shared quiet conversations, and walked side by side through the palace gardens. No big dramatic gestures, no public performances, just pure, honest trust. This wasn't your typical boss and employee relationship. Angela became part of the Queen's inner circle in ways that almost nobody else ever achieved. When she received the official title of personal advisor and manager to the Queen's jewels, insignia, and wardrobe, it meant so much more than just a fancy title. It symbolized everything she had become to the Queen. But Angela's job went way beyond picking out pretty dresses. She managed priceless royal jewelry worth millions, studied cultural customs and traditions for international state visits, and made sure every single outfit the Queen wore carried deeper meaning. Every brooch, every hat, every small trim was chosen with careful thought and symbolism. Trust like this doesn't just happen overnight. It's earned quietly, day after day, moment by moment. So how exactly did Angela reach this incredible level of devotion and trust? What do you think made Angela so special? Share your answer below. To everyone watching from outside, Queen Elizabeth always looked absolutely flawless. Graceful in those beautiful pastel coats, glowing under fancy chandeliers, always standing out in bright, vibrant hats at national events. But behind every single one of those stunning outfits was Angela Kelly working her magic. She didn't just pick clothes randomly. She crafted silent messages. Every hat, every brooch, every dress was actually a form of quiet communication. Her work wasn't about following fashion trends. It was about representing heritage, national identity, and international diplomacy, all woven carefully into fabric. Angela couldn't just grab random outfits the day before an event. She had to plan months and months in advance. If the Queen was scheduled to visit Kenya in November, Angela had already chosen fabrics and designed complete outfits the previous spring. Colors, cuts, and materials had to match the culture perfectly, suit the weather conditions, fit the occasion appropriately, and most importantly, keep the Queen comfortable all day long. There was absolutely no guesswork involved, only perfect precision. In her book titled The Other Side of the Coin, Angela revealed something fascinating. The Queen's bright wardrobe wasn't just personal preference. It was actual necessity. Those bright yellows, bold purples, and light blues made her visible in massive crowds. Whether people were watching from distant balconies, standing behind barriers, or viewing on television screens across the entire globe, fashion wasn't the main goal. Strategic visibility was. But dressing a queen wasn't only about creating new outfits. It was also about honoring and respecting the past. Angela explained that she frequently used fabrics from decades earlier, some dating all the way back to 1961. Huge rolls of silk, delicate lace, and beautiful brocade, carefully stored in the royal vault for years, weren't forgotten or thrown away. They were lovingly repurposed. Queen Elizabeth strongly disliked waste and truly believed in value. If material was beautiful and still durable, why waste it by buying new? Angela's challenge was weaving past and present together seamlessly, transforming decades-old fabrics into modern, elegant garments perfect for a 21st century monarch. And she did this with quiet pride and incredible skill. Among Angela's most touching stories was how she prepared the Queen's shoes. Long ceremonies and endless public appearances demanded extreme comfort, but brand new leather shoes caused painful blisters. So Angela herself wore them first, actually slipping them onto her own feet and walking through those long palace corridors until the stiff leather softened enough. Nobody asked her to do this. It wasn't written anywhere in her job description. She simply knew it mattered to the Queen's comfort. That was the true essence of Angela Kelly's work. Those small, completely unseen acts of loyalty that made her the Queen's most trusted friend and confidant. Can you imagine wearing someone else's shoes to break them in? Tell me in the comments if you do that for someone you cared about. Inside the palace, Angela's workspace wasn't chaotic or super glamorous like you might imagine. It was organized like a professional high-end archive, where every single outfit was carefully catalogued, with handwritten notes, fabric samples, and photographs, all stored perfectly with detailed labels to ensure the Queen would never accidentally appear at any major event wearing the same ensemble twice. However, reusing outfits was never considered taboo or embarrassing. Angela often gave new life to familiar garments, maybe by replacing old buttons or changing a trim detail. The Queen's wardrobe wasn't worn once and then tossed away. It evolved steadily and thoughtfully, much like her reign itself. Angela once explained her process for organizing accessories, carefully laying out different options for brooches and hats while offering gentle suggestions rather than firm commands. Every single choice was made through real collaboration and mutual trust. She wasn't merely a designer following orders. She was the Queen's closest advisor on public image and appearance. Though the entire world praised Elizabeth II's timeless, elegant style, very few people realized the dedication, extensive research, and sleepless nights that went into creating each perfect look. Angela made sure absolutely nothing was left to chance. From the exact shade of a pair of gloves to the symbolic weight carried by a particular brooch, her role extended far beyond routine wardrobe duties. She was there for the truly iconic occasions, those moments the whole world would never forget. One of the most extraordinary moments was bold, unexpected, and absolutely stunning. A moment that shocked millions when it unfolded live on screens worldwide. What was it? Keep watching. Angela Kelly wasn't simply the woman working behind the wardrobe. She was the silent architect of history. And one of those history-making moments had nothing to do with pearls or brooches. It involved paragliding, James Bond, and a stadium packed with absolutely astonished faces. The entire world tuned in to watch the opening ceremony of the 2012 London Olympics. Billions of eyes anticipated a big showcase of British culture and grandeur. Maybe some witty theatrics, a Paul McCartney performance, or perhaps a nod to Shakespeare. But absolutely no one, not a single person anywhere, expected Queen Elizabeth II herself to actually appear in a film sequence, calmly greeting James Bond at Buckingham Palace. The scene opened like any classic Bond thriller, with Daniel Craig walking confidently through the golden corridors before the camera cut sharply to the Queen sitting at her desk. She turned around, completely calm and unfazed, and said those unforgettable words, "Good evening, Mr. Bond." In that single instant, the monarch transformed into a movie star. The film then grew even more daring. Bond and the Queen were shown boarding a helicopter together, flying dramatically across London, and then parachuting into the Olympic Stadium with a stunt double handling the airborne leap. Moments later, when the Queen appeared live in the royal box, the crowd absolutely erupted. It wasn't simply humorous, it was genuinely historic. The performance revealed a playful, surprisingly modern side of the Queen, and behind that unforgettable moment stood a trusted figure, Angela Kelly. Angela knew the Queen's mischievous streak incredibly well. She had witnessed flashes of humor during private moments, glimpses rarely seen beyond those palace walls. When director Danny Boyle and his creative team first suggested the Olympic stunt, most people assumed the Queen would politely decline. Angela thought differently. She actually encouraged the idea, recognizing it not as inappropriate or undignified, but as a golden opportunity, a surprising way for the Queen to genuinely connect with a younger generation. Her subtle encouragement allowed Elizabeth to break free from rigid tradition without ever compromising her dignity. Angela believed the Queen could pull it off, and she absolutely did. It wasn't the only time Angela witnessed the Queen's humor shine brightly. One of her most memorable behind-the-scenes stories involved an April Fool's prank. Angela placed a realistic stuffed kookaburra, a bird native to Australia, right outside the Queen's window, and told her seriously that a rare wild bird had landed there. Supposedly summoned by the Commonwealth itself, the Queen examined the toy with solemn curiosity before dryly remarking, "You're joking!" Then she laughed heartily and genuinely. That perfect moment revealed everything about their relationship. Angela wasn't merely an employee following orders. She was someone welcomed into the Queen's private world of jokes, trust, and deep loyalty. Very few people dared tease the monarch. Angela could, and regularly did. Would you dare to prank a queen? Let me know in the comments. In a palace traditionally bound by strict rules and protocol, Angela offered something precious: comfort and friendship. She didn't only dress the Queen, she humanized her, especially during high-pressure moments when every camera lens in the entire world was fixed directly upon her. Angela stood just beyond those cameras, making absolutely sure earrings matched the gown perfectly, shoes were properly softened for comfort, and hats were positioned exactly right. She often eased tension with a perfectly timed joke before Elizabeth stepped into the blinding blaze of flashbulbs. The public saw pure elegance and grace, but they never saw the quiet friend smoothing a coat, whispering gentle reassurance, and then stepping back modestly into the shadows. Angela's dedicated work preserved more than just style and fashion. She safeguarded the Queen's mood, precious memories, and the magic of royal tradition, one careful moment at a time. The Olympic stunt may have been her most spectacular public contribution, but it definitely wasn't her only brush with history. She also revived royal heritage in ways no fashion magazine ever noted or celebrated, even through something as surprisingly humble as a tea bag. What do I mean? Stay tuned. In the fashion world, recreating a dress might seem fairly routine and straightforward. But when that dress has been worn by royals since Queen Victoria's era, it becomes sacred, precious work. It becomes about preserving family history and tradition. In 2004, Elizabeth II quietly asked Angela to undertake a special project: restore the royal christening gown. The gown, originally created way back in 1841 for Victoria's eldest daughter, had been worn by over 60 royal babies throughout history, including the Queen's own children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. By 2004, however, the delicate Spitalfield silk and Honiton lace were far too fragile to touch safely, let alone wear. The Queen knew exactly what needed to be done, but she wasn't interested in just ordering another replica. She wanted a gown that genuinely carried the spirit of the original, a dress that honored tradition without becoming a lifeless modern copy. For such a delicate, important task, she turned to Angela. This was never about simply stitching fabric pieces together. It was about weaving emotion, memory, and heritage into every single thread and piece of lace. Angela immediately understood the enormous weight of this responsibility. Having worked closely with the Queen for many years, she understood how deeply personal this gown was. It wasn't just clothing. It was a royal time capsule connecting generations. Angela and her small team began their meticulous work with extreme precision, studying every tiny detail of the original gown. The lace had to be exactly right. The silk had to feel perfect, and every stitch, every fold, and even the weight of the fabric had to match precisely. After extensive research, they sourced beautiful lace from Italy, a country renowned worldwide for its exquisite textiles. But then they hit a significant challenge. The brand new lace looked far too fresh and modern. It completely lacked the aged, golden softness of the original, leaving the new gown at risk of resembling a costume rather than a piece of living, breathing heritage. Angela, however, didn't panic or give up. She leaned into her natural creativity, turning to a surprisingly ordinary household item: Yorkshire tea. By carefully soaking the lace in brewed tea, she gave it a beautiful pale golden hue, soft enough to resemble the original while still feeling fresh enough for actual use. It was a brilliantly clever choice, perfectly blending tradition with creative ingenuity, a perfect reflection of Angela herself. When the gown was finally ready after months of dedicated work, it was absolutely stunning. The first royal baby to wear it was James, Viscount Severn, the Queen's youngest grandson, at his christening ceremony in 2008. The moment was quiet, yet deeply symbolic, marking the beginning of a new chapter where the royal family could honor its past while confidently embracing the future. Since then, the gown has been worn by many royal children: Prince George, Princess Charlotte, Prince Louis, and even Archie Harrison, the son of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, each time that delicate lace and silk appeared before the public. It carried with it nearly 2 full centuries of tradition, preserved thanks to Angela's steady, skilled hands. Have you ever restored something precious from your family's past? Share your story below. But Angela's service to the Queen went far beyond beautiful gowns and grand ceremonies. When the world changed dramatically in 2020, with the arrival of COVID-19, life within those palace walls also transformed completely. Windsor Castle fell eerily silent. Public events vanished overnight. Tours were cancelled indefinitely, and the usual grandeur of royal life was stripped completely away. What remained was something far simpler and more isolated: a queen living in near-complete seclusion. And through it all, there was Angela Kelly, standing faithfully by her side. Angela, once responsible for preparing the Queen for glittering banquets and important state occasions, suddenly became something far more intimate and essential. She became part of what the palace staff called HN's Bubble, a small group of about 20 carefully selected, trusted staff members who isolated alongside Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. The name might sound playful and fun, but the reality was far from easy. They couldn't leave the castle grounds. They couldn't see their own families. They gave up months of their personal lives to protect the Queen. Angela was among them, sacrificing more than just weekends or holidays. She gave up nearly everything to ensure the safety of the woman she had served and deeply admired for decades. Inside the bubble, Angela's role expanded far beyond her official title. She became housekeeper, close companion, and even hairstylist when absolutely needed. With no extra staff allowed inside, she carefully styled the Queen's hair herself before video calls and official photographs, shaping her curls with the same precision she had always used. But now without her usual professional team. Meals became simpler. Days grew quieter. The palace halls, once alive with bustling servants and polished shoes clicking on marble, echoed with unusual silence. Yet within that strange stillness, Angela and the Queen forged an even deeper, more meaningful bond. They shared afternoon teas together, sometimes in quiet reflection, sometimes in genuine laughter. And when the Queen lost her beloved husband of more than 70 years, Prince Philip, in April 2021, Angela was right there by her side. She became a quiet pillar of support, helping the Queen navigate terrible grief while the entire world looked on from afar. No cameras captured those painful, intimate moments, but their emotional weight lingered in every step the Queen took afterward. When she prepared for Philip's funeral, sitting alone, masked and socially distanced in that chapel, it was Angela who helped her behind the scenes. offering comfort no one else could provide. When the bubble finally dissolved and the world slowly reopened, Angela made a decision that no royal aide had ever dared to make before. She wrote about it. Not rumors or scandals, but her truth. Her years alongside Queen Elizabeth told honestly through her own eyes. What did she reveal that shocked the royal family? Keep watching to find out. The memoir, titled The Other Side of the Coin, revealed quiet moments and private rituals the public had never seen before. For the first time ever, people learned what it was truly like to prepare the Queen's attire for a major banquet, to share laughter over breakfast, or to sit in comfortable silence with her during lockdown. Angela had stepped into the Queen's world and stayed there for over 2 decades. But her memoir absolutely shocked royal watchers. Not because it betrayed secrets or exposed scandals, but because it offered something even rarer: honesty, intimacy, and the genuine human side of life behind those palace doors. At 67, Angela did more than break the silence. She opened the palace doors wide and invited the entire world to peer inside. It all began with a blessing. A royal blessing. Queen Elizabeth herself, a monarch known for guarding silence, privacy, and tradition above absolutely everything else, granted Angela something no member of staff had ever received before: permission to write about their personal relationship. Not after retirement. Not after the Queen's passing. But while she was still alive and reigning, this wasn't a casual nod of approval. It was a genuinely historic gesture. The Queen, who had spent her entire life keeping everything carefully under wraps, essentially told Angela, "You can tell them about me." The result was a book that created ripples across the entire globe. The Other Side of the Coin. The Queen, the Dresser, and the Wardrobe. Unlike anything the royal household had seen before, Angela's memoir wasn't scandal or cheap tabloid gossip. Instead, it was rare, genuine, warm, and deeply intimate. It revealed a version of Elizabeth the cameras and formal portraits had never captured. Not the monarch, not the symbol, but the real woman behind it all. The one who laughed at inside jokes, insisted on doing things a certain specific way, and sometimes made unexpected decisions that left everyone scrambling. Angela wasn't an outsider or a hired ghostwriter. She was the one who personally zipped the Queen's dresses, steamed her coats carefully, and angled every hat just perfectly. She knew exactly how the Queen liked her silk scarves folded, which colors to absolutely avoid, and which brooch carried special meaning on particular important days. She even helped break in the Queen's new shoes by walking them around the palace halls herself. More importantly, Angela truly understood Elizabeth's moods, her daily rhythm, and the quiet moments when she simply needed someone to sit with her in peaceful silence. For decades, Angela was the silent figure standing on the edges of royal photographs, barely visible. With the Queen's blessing, she finally stepped into the frame to reveal what those private moments really looked like. But the task wasn't easy at all. The royal family is famously tight-lipped. For generations upon generations, staff had lived under unspoken rules. Do not speak. Do not reveal. Do not cross boundaries. Breaking that silence, even with direct permission, felt like walking a thin line no one had dared approach before. Angela knew the risks perfectly well. She knew some people within the palace would be seriously displeased. But her loyalty wasn't to tradition or protocol. It was to the Queen herself. And the Queen had made her wishes crystal clear. It's time they see this side of me. Do you think Angela made the right choice by writing this book? Comment below. The book went far beyond dresses and state visits. It revealed Elizabeth laughing over wardrobe mishaps, choosing jewelry not by protocol, but for sentimental value. Angela's stories placed readers inside the room, watching a real woman prepare for another day as monarch. The public absolutely adored it. The memoir became a massive bestseller, celebrated worldwide for its honesty and warmth. Yet not everyone was pleased. Some high-ranking courtiers whispered disapproval behind closed doors. Some said Angela had grown too familiar with the Queen. Others claimed she had been granted too much access. A few even hinted she had strayed dangerously close to seeking fame. But Angela wasn't chasing fame or attention. She told the truth with respect, caution, and with the Queen's own approval. And perhaps that's exactly why the book was both powerful and controversial. For Angela, it wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Because there was one thing left unsaid. One private detail the Queen had never made public until then. For decades, the world had known Elizabeth II through formal portraits and photographs that reinforced her as the embodiment of tradition. Grey stiff collars, flawless hats, impeccable posture, always the monarch, never just Elizabeth. To millions, she was untouchable, wrapped tightly in protocol and ceremony. Yet beneath that dignified exterior was another woman. A woman who longed to be seen not only as a monarch, but as herself. This private side of Elizabeth remained hidden from public view, seen only by Angela, her trusted dresser and confidant. In the other side of the coin, Angela revealed one of the Queen's most surprising wishes: to be photographed informally, showing a relaxed and authentic version of herself. For the royal family, this was genuinely radical. For generations, every single image had been carefully staged to uphold tradition. There was absolutely no room for spontaneity. Yet the Queen yearned for something genuine, something that connected her with the public beyond the pomp and ceremony. Angela understood completely, and with quiet consent, she arranged a private photo session. No flashing cameras, no bustling staff, just the Queen, unguarded and natural. One striking photograph captured her standing casually, with hands tucked in her pockets. A small gesture, but one that spoke volumes. Here was a monarch embracing change, revealing a side of herself freed from decades of rigid expectation. That image was more than a portrait. It was a quiet rebellion against the severe role she had carried all her life. Angela's book carried many such powerful moments. Beyond the photos, it highlighted Elizabeth's practicality, like her respect for the royal archives filled with decades of fabrics. Rather than always demanding something brand new, she often chose to reuse or recycle these materials. A thrifty instinct that revealed her balance of tradition and common sense. The memoir also shared her humor, like her cheerful acceptance of April Fool's Day pranks. Glimpses of warmth that softened the public's image of her. Readers embraced this new picture of Elizabeth. Angela's respectful storytelling humanized the Queen, transforming her from a distant monarch into a relatable woman with emotions, quirks, and laughter. The other side of the coin opened a new window into her life, a life of grace, quiet strength, and authenticity few had imagined. And so, the question lingers. After hearing the Queen's secret wish and Angela Kelly's bold decision to share it, has it changed the way you see Elizabeth too? Before you go, I want to hear from you. What surprised you most about Angela and the Queen's relationship? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this incredible story. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another fascinating royal story. Share this video with anyone who loves learning about the real people behind the crown. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.